In the politics lead for the first time in 2 decades, Allen Weisselberg does not hold a leadership position in Donald Trump's namesake company. The Trump Organization removed Weisselberg as chief financial officer just days after prosecutors indicted him, saying that Weisselberg and the company ran a 15-year tax scheme. I want to bring in Elie Honig. He was the assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. He's also out with a new book called Hatchet Man: How Bill Barr Broke the Prosecutor's Code and Corrupted the Justice Department. Congratulations, Elie, on the book, and we'll get to it in a second. But I do want to start with these charges against Weisselberg and the company, which include, quote, a scheme to defraud, conspiracy, falsifying business records. Would it be a smart move for the Trump Organization to further separate themselves from Weisselberg?
So it would be very risky for them to do that. As a former prosecutor, it's clear to me that these prosecutors are trying to flip Allen Weisselberg, and he's the exact right person to flip. Now, what you're looking for as a prosecutor is cracks, rifts between Allen Weisselberg and here, the Trump Organization. What we've seen already is a small one. It's fairly routine in this situation to see someone removed from a position as an officer because that can get in the way of the business's ability to do business. So I'm looking for, are we going to see something more dramatic? Is he going to get fired? Is he going to quit? Are we going to see public disputes? Is he going to change lawyers? That kind of thing signals to me that he might be changing his tune about cooperation, but we're not there yet.
So let's talk about Bill Barr and your book. He's in the news a lot these days. I just read today an article about there's a governor's race in Pennsylvania. You're from Jersey,
Yes.
so right across the river. There's a governor's race next year. And a lot of the Republicans are trying to see who can be more Trumpy than the other. One of the guys is claiming that the only reason he didn't do more against Pennsylvania and in terms of the election fraud that did not exist was because Bill Barr told him to.
Right.
So stand down. He's blaming it on Barr. And Barr is out there saying it's not true. He didn't tell him not to investigate the claims. How do you see this?
There's two things going on here. Those who want Donald Trump's blessing, those who are aspiring to higher office on the Republican side, are cozying up to Donald Trump. They're speaking his language. They're repeating the big lie. Bill Barr is trying to revise history. He's reminding us that late in the game, he did stand up and say, there's no evidence of election fraud. That was well after the election. What he's leaving out, and I do not leave out of the book, is that for many months leading up to the election, Bill Barr used his position as Attorney General, most powerful prosecutor in the country, to fan those flames, to push the false narrative of election fraud. I don't think he can be forgiven for that. I don't think that can be forgotten.
So, yeah, he was doing it publicly. He was not doing it legally. Legally, he was telling the president and others there's nothing there. It's all BS. But in public, he didn't. In fact, he mischaracterized a ballot case in Texas in an interview right here on CNN. Take a look.
The elections that have been held with mail have found substantial fraud and coercion. For example, we indicted someone in Texas, 1,700 ballots collected from people who could vote. He made them out and voted for the person he wanted to.
That didn't happen, though.
No, that's a complete lie that Bill Barr gave. It's misinformation. And I remember watching that interview with Wolf and watching Bill Barr say that, 1,700 ballots. And I went, wow, OK, that's significant. Turns out it was not a DOJ case. It was a state case, and it involved one single fraudulent ballot. And DOJ the next day had to issue a correction. What did they do? They blamed some low-level staffer. But spreading that kind of nonsense is so damaging from the Attorney General because 1 million plus people watched that interview with Wolf Blitzer, where Bill Barr put out this false information. How many people saw the retraction the next day? I'm sure a fraction of that. So Bill Barr helped fan those flames.
Bill Barr gave an interview to John Carl for his book, and John Carl had an excerpt in The Atlantic in which Bill Barr made his case, talked about everything he did to push back on what he called, quote, bullshit, sorry to parents out there, that Trump was trying to push. But that made you mad.
Yeah. Look, if Bill Barr knew it was BS after the fact or during the fact, why was he scooping it? Why was he foisting it on us for many months leading up? So look, Bill Barr has a mixed record on this, but to me what matters most is what you did at the time of crisis, what he did when the big lie was being built, when the flames were being fanned. He was part of that. Did he change course late in the game? Yes, he did. Is it better that he did that than that he did nothing? Yes, but he can't escape accountability for the fact that he helped fan these flames.
And you proposed specific reforms for the Justice Department, among them clarifying the ban on foreign election aid, adopting rules to limit communication between the White House staff and people, top officials of the Justice Department. You also call for reinforcement in the ethics and recusal process, noting multiple times when Barr could have recused himself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, remember the Mueller report, right? Bill Barr wrote what we call the audition memo before he became AG, where he prejudged the whole report. He said in his memo, it is fatally misconceived, Robert Mueller's investigation. Fatally. That means dead. He takes over. You would have to recuse yourself as a prosecutor if you gave that kind of opinion. Sure enough, he did exactly what he told us he should have done.
All right, the book, Hatchet Man, How Bill Barr Broke the Prosecutor's Code and Corrupted the Justice Department. It is out now. Elie Honig, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Jay.
Appreciate it. And also thank you so much for the Mike Schmidt baseball card that you gave me, which was very, very exciting.